Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Thank you so much for tuning into today's reading video. I am sending you all so much love wherever you are in the world, whenever you are tuning into this reading as well, because as you guys know, these readings are completely timeless. So whenever you are finding this reading video, it means that it is meant for you on some level. Maybe there is some kind of message that will connect for you. But of course, I always say to use your intuition, and of course, only do take the messages that connect with you in a personal and intuitive way. So I am going to be starting off today by shuffling the traditional tarot cards. And I am about to be leaving on a trip for a couple days as well over the weekend. So I may actually post some content from there also. Either here on YouTube, I might try to get out a mini reading this weekend, or maybe even on Instagram, I may post a couple photos or text posts of some kind. So if you would like to stay tuned in to everything happening here, then of course, I would love for you to subscribe here on YouTube. And you can follow my Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, and the direct link to that is in the description box as well. So I am leaving today's reading really open-ended, which I actually feel has been happening in a lot of recent readings. So the first card that we have here is the Three of Wands. And it's interesting because when I did the last reading, our last collective reading on Wednesday, this card came out. I can't remember if it was in the main reading or the extended, but it definitely made an appearance. And when this card came out in that reading, I felt that it was directly connected to someone whose life is opening up in really incredible new ways. The best way I can describe the energy I've been sensing around this era of your life is that there are so many new things, opportunities, connections opening up for you that felt like they were on hold in the past. This feels like the era of your life where dreams start coming true that you may have put to the side or put on the back burner because you thought that they might never happen. I'm hearing lost hope for. There may be things that you lost hope for in your life or from your past that are suddenly resurfacing as manifestations. But an important key that I'm getting here is that everything that is flooding in at this point in your life is coming in response to your energy. And the reason that that's so important is that when we are in flux, when there's a lot of change, especially when we are in a void, and I do feel that for many of you, you are coming out of some kind of void that you may have been in for a while. Especially in these times, the ego mind likes to attempt to find ways to latch on or to control. And one way that it will do this is by trying to almost like force timelines or outcomes or make things happen through action alone without checking into the intuition, without following the flow of things, letting things unfold naturally in alignment. And you are going to find that your entire system is increasingly resistant to that kind of force and control. Because yes, amazing things are manifesting in your life, but they're coming in alignment, meaning they are happening and being drawn to you as a result of your energy, your vibration, not through anything physical, surface level, action oriented, or anything of that nature. And so what I'm getting is that, for example, when you make a new friend or find a new form of community, or maybe you are in the dating world and you meet someone romantically, it's very strange because the world will tell you that the way to push those kinds of connections into place is through heavily focusing on how you're presenting yourself in the physical, but the guides are coming through to say that how you are presenting yourself energetically is much more important at this time, because I'm actually getting that a lot of the connections you are attracting in are essentially telepathic or telepathically based. They do have a physical element, of course, that is very fulfilling, where you will feel supported and loved and celebrated, and you'll enjoy, I'm hearing you'll just have fun as well with these connections in the physical world, with these forms of community. So there is that physical element, and that's very important. However, there is so much of the connection that is happening telepathically, whether it's a friendship, a form of community, and I'm getting even beyond your connections, things that you are, I'm hearing getting the ball rolling. Maybe you're getting the ball rolling, so to speak, on new projects or things in your life. But regardless, I'm picking up that it's all unfolding in alignment. So everything and everyone right now seems to be hearing you energetically and responding more to that than anything that is happening at a purely physical level. And for some reason, that just feels really important to remember, especially at this, I'm hearing, phase of being so energetically delicate or sensitive in the best kind of way, like a fine china, like something of tremendous beauty and value that is also delicate, but that's also where it derives its value from. In fact, I feel that you are entering this season where you are recognizing that the aspects about yourself that you may have perceived as too delicate or too sensitive were actually the most valuable things and gifts and parts of yourself that you had and still do have to offer the world. And it's like you realizing that secret, you realizing that the things about yourself that you may have once considered to be weaknesses or flaws are actually your greatest strengths and your greatest gifts. That realization is unlocking a whole new reality for you at this time. So many of you may be doing inner work around accepting the parts of you that you had learned to reject or that other people rejected. You may even have specific tools that you are personally using for this kind of inner work. Whatever this is for you, I'm just getting that self-acceptance, self-celebration, self-embracing is so important at this time because it keeps you locked into that frequency where you know the value of your gifts, of what you have to share with the world. And then other people reflect that knowingness of your own value back to you. So this feels like a beautiful place to start the reading. I want to start shuffling and pull through some more cards around what this expansion is looking like, what these new opportunities could potentially be in your life. But I am going to take a quick sip of my coffee. I just have plain black coffee today. So let me know in the comments if you are eating or drinking anything during this reading. And if you hear me sipping in the background, you'll know that's just me drinking my coffee. So just give me one moment here. Okay, so can I get more about this expansion taking place? I heard the word detox. Maybe some of you feel as though you are going through a detox at a physical, spiritual, or emotional level. And I'm getting that you may be actively supporting this detox in some way, or if you aren't actively supporting it, then there's something about your environment, physically, emotionally, mentally, maybe even like your internal environment. I'm hearing where you've created more space within yourself to facilitate this detox. So I'm hearing you don't have to hold on to that anymore. So there may be things, patterns, emotions that are surfacing through this kind of detox, as we're calling it. And it's almost like you've created some kind of space. Either maybe you created a literal environment that feels soft and warm and cozy and comfortable and safe and aligned for you. Maybe you've created that somehow in your world or your living space. For others of you, this could be your internal environment. So maybe you've created this almost like a garden within yourself where you feel at home within yourself. You've also created a lot of space internally. I'm hearing space between your reactions. So one sign that you've created this space internally is you may notice more space between the trigger and your reaction or your response to it. So when someone says something that would typically trigger you or upset you, you may notice that there is a longer space before you react, like where you have a moment to pause and to analyze and to kind of internally reflect on why that trigger is affecting you, where it's coming from, how you want to consciously respond. I'm hearing like responding versus reacting. So it's like you are creating space within yourself so that you can actually take the time to consciously respond to people, things, interactions, rather than unconsciously reacting to them. And this is a major sign that you've created this kind of safe environment within yourself to do that. I'm also picking up on a collective that didn't have that kind of safe environment. I'm hearing things may have been very reactive, either growing up or in your past or in certain relationships or connections in your life. I feel like there have been times in your life where you didn't feel safe to be able to have that space within yourself, to take the time to consciously respond to things because you were constantly either personally in a reactive mode because of trauma, or maybe even there were people around you who were constantly reactive to things. So you were always like bracing for the next thing. But I feel that that is a major part of what you've healed within yourself. I just keep getting the word softness, like you've created a softness within yourself that is so rare and so beautiful. It's also something about you that people seem to sense. And once again, this is one of those things that contributes to that alignment that we're talking about, where people, things, opportunities, friendships, relationships are drawn to you as a result of this like beauty and softness of your energy. Now, of course, that's not to say it doesn't reflect physically, because I see this physical radiance about you as well, because you do project this very bright, beautiful, warm aura that even if people can't perceive consciously, they can pick up on subconsciously, and they will react to it. And it will even reflect in certain ways in your physical appearance. I'm seeing something about like your face and your eyes looking really bright or like really lit up in a way. You may notice that about yourself, or other people may notice that about you. There's just some kind of almost like angelic quality about your appearance, about the way you present yourself. And it's actually because you are projecting, well, I shouldn't say projecting because that sounds so active. You're naturally emanating this aura that is so soft and so beautiful, and a result of this deep inner self-acceptance work that you've done within yourself. So I'm hearing you have the space now to create it. So whatever space you've created within yourself is also this fertile ground for the things that are going to be manifesting in your life. You may literally have the space now for things, maybe literal things like objects you're collecting or hobbies. Maybe you have the space in your life or the time to pursue certain hobbies or things that you weren't able to pursue in the past. Maybe you have the space just like emotionally to hold love, like to receive love from a romantic relationship or to receive support from a community. Whereas in the past, you may have not had that receptive kind of open space within yourself. And it's such a beautiful thing. And it's all you. This is all you. This is a result of all of the work that is accumulated, that you've been putting in within yourself. And it almost kind of brings me to tears a little bit, because I read a comment just this morning from one of you about how you had been here on this channel since the beginning, and you're here now at the end. And of course, it's never the end, right? Because we're always expanding, things are constantly evolving. But with those words, the end, I feel that that speaks to the ending of a cycle and the opening up of a new cycle, because I do feel that your energy has never felt this new before. When I channeled into this collective, especially just this past few weeks, there's been this massive shift where I swear your energy has never felt so light, so open, so self-loving, so warm, so ready. I kept getting that word ready in my meditations, like you are ready for what is coming next, and it's ready for you. And you're either right on the brink of it or starting to jump into it. And it's just such a beautiful thing to witness. And I know I'm getting a little bit sappy here, but I also just want to say that I feel so honored and so grateful that we've been able to share this space and this channel together for so many years. And it just warms my heart every single day to read all of your comments, to feel all of your energy, to know the ways in which we are growing and evolving together, and to see the effects of that, not just as I'm doing these channelings, but also I read so many of your comments and get to hear about your successes, your breakthroughs. I saw a comment from one of you who has been posting on YouTube for a while, and you had a video that just did extremely well and you were excited about it. And I love reading things like that from all of you. I love seeing you go after the things that you love and see so much success from it. And I'm so proud of you. And I know you're proud of me too. And I really just love that connection that we share here virtually. So thank you for being part of that. So there is this Two of Wands in the reverse position. And what I see with this card is some kind of fear of the unknown, but I don't think this is you, because everything we've been channeling is about you being so ready. I don't feel you are afraid of the unknown. I think you're embracing the void. I think you're embracing this roller coaster ride. So it's strange that this energy is showing up in your reading, and it actually leads me to believe that this could be, I'm hearing it's not just one like person, but these are energies that, yes, could be energies within different physical people, connections, groups of people, communities. I hear for some of you, it's like whole communities that you left behind. It's not even that you intentionally abandoned them. It's that I'm hearing you perpetually expanding was a threat to them. So they ejected you, or they could no longer connect with you. And I'm getting that for many of you, this has happened with some of your personal friendships or relationships as well, where your growth began to threaten the status quo or began to threaten their own sense of, I'm hearing contentment in the life that they settled for. Wow, that felt really powerful. So for some of you, the reason that some of these energies could no longer connect with you, or even ejected you or rejected you in some sense, is because you first of all, I mean, let's just talk about the fact that your energy is so absolutely contrary to settling. It's like, I don't know how to find the words to describe this, but it's like there's something about your frequency that is directly contradictory to the energy of settling. It's like if you are, first of all, in your personal life, I feel that anytime someone has tried to get you to settle and you knew that you were destined for more, you broke free of those chains. You could not be held by those societally set standards or family expectations or whatever it was. You were constantly seeking growth and refusing to settle, even when maybe settling seemed to make logical sense or would provide some kind of comfort to the ego. You have always been seeking, oh, okay, there's so much coming through here. My guides are inundating me with messages right now. But another message here though is, because I felt someone kind of asking like, well, if I'm constantly growing and expanding and never settling, won't I have to say a lot of goodbyes? Like, will I ever, for example, in relationships, will I ever find that person who is just my person that I can stay with? Or will I always be expanding and growing out of relationships? And so this is really important to emphasize. It's not that when you are on a path of perpetual expansion, you have to be constantly leaving people and things behind. It's that your frequency perpetually inspires elevation. So it's very repulsive to people who are compromising with their own soul, who are settling when in their heart they know that they shouldn't. So what this means is, yes, you can sustain, for example, a career path or a passion or a platform or a community or a friend group or a romantic relationship, but you can only sustain things that are equally committed and open to their own perpetual expansion, where there is no ceiling, so to speak. So for example, when you are friends with someone or in a friend group or community, if that community encourages and invites expansion and is committed to its own expansion, you can continue to grow with it and expand with it and connect with it for as long as you want to. and it will actually catalyze your growth, and vice versa. It will be very mutually supportive of, it's like you will feel supported in your growth, and it will be supported by you in its own growth. And the same is true of romantic relationships. In love, I feel that you have been seeking out romantic connections that are willing to grow and expand with you in an endless way. And for some of you, you found that in the person that you're with. For others of you, maybe that's something that you're still seeking, but that does exist. And this is true in all areas of life. For example, something that just popped into my mind is truly, with this channel and this platform, I feel that we've created a community where we support each other's growth in an endless way. So I've been creating these videos for years, but it's something that I will never want to stop doing because it is a platform that allows endless opportunity for growth and expansion. And I feel that whenever I grow and expand, I can share that with all of you and vice versa. So it's very mutually reinforcing in that way. It's something that I feel I can travel with through timelines and dimensions. And it's also deeply connected to my soul purpose. So essentially, just like for me and the channel, I feel like it's a place I can grow in an endless way. I feel that you are connecting in with the people, the things, the opportunities. Maybe for you, it's your career path or your business. You're connecting in with those things that support, allow, and encourage endless growth and actually expand and grow along with you. And those things do exist. And I feel like you've been holding out for them in the most beautifully stubborn way. You've been refusing to settle. And I love that about you. I adore that about you. And the planet needs that kind of energy that is so contradictory to the energy of settling, because that's what most people are doing. And with the Two of Wands reversed, once again, I mean, all of that is to say that there are people, energies, and forces who cannot necessarily connect with you because they are afraid to embrace the void. They are afraid of the unknown. I'm hearing, where is that going to lead you? Maybe that's like the doubt that they're planting in your mind about something, like you shouldn't pursue that because you don't know where it's going to go or where it's going to lead you. But I feel like you are just buckled in and ready for the roller coaster. You are ready for the adventure. And in fact, I feel that for some of you, there may have literally been some time or moment in your life that you can remember, maybe as a child, maybe in your teen years or your young adulthood, where you either literally said to God, the universe, whatever spiritual forces you connect with, I want my life to be a roller coaster. I want to do something with my life that lights me up. I do not want to settle. Or maybe you said this about your love life, or, you know, whatever the case is. Maybe you didn't even use your words, but you've just always had this feeling like, buckle me in. I'm ready for the roller coaster ride. I do not want to settle. I feel like that just speaks to your energy. And the universe has responded by preparing you for all of these beautiful things that are now coming into your life that allow you to continue growing and expanding and never require you to settle. So I do want to know a bit more about what is going on here. I just keep hearing something about you threatening the status quo or threatening someone else's choice to settle in their own life just by your existence, and them needing to step away from you, reject you, go cold on you, etc., because just being around you reminds them of all the ways that they are settling in their own life. For some of you, you may have experienced this in your romantic connections. Maybe this happened with someone romantically where they were able to go so far with you or grow so far with you. And then at some point they felt threatened, or they decided to settle, and your energy is so contradictory to that that they had to disconnect from you. Yeah, with the King of Wands reversed, for some of you, this could have been a person who wanted to maintain some kind of sense of control over you. And another thing that your energy is very resistant to is control. You are the one steering your own ship, so to speak. You are the one calling the shots. You are staying connected to your intuition. You refuse to be controlled by anyone, by anything. You are guided from within. And I feel there may have, for some of you, this won't be for everyone, but for some of you, there may have been a person or maybe multiple people from your past who were very threatened by that, because exerting some kind of control over you may have given them a false temporary sense of control within themselves or security within themselves. This also is coming up as a very impulsive person as well. Someone who will just, well, getting back to that reactivity, this is a very reactive person. They're almost the opposite of you in the sense that you've created all of this space within yourself where you are able to truly take the time to consciously respond rather than unconsciously reacting. This is someone who is the opposite. So this is a person who is very reactive and very impulsive. That's what I'm picking up on here. But I see with the World card that you've been freed from this energy. Maybe they disconnected from you. Maybe you set boundaries with them, or there's just been like a dissolution of that connection in some way. But I see you moving towards higher levels of success, harmony, and fulfillment. And this person being sent back into some kind of loop to keep repeating certain lessons that they need to learn to go within instead of projecting externally. That's what I'm picking up on here. And I'm actually getting that there was a period of time where you and this person may have been connected for the purpose of you helping them to break out of this cycle. So you may have actually felt intuitively drawn to them, whether it was a friend, a romantic person, a family member, whoever this was. I feel that you were drawn to them to leading by the example of your own freedom, of your own ability to find fulfillment internally, to respond consciously, all of those things. But what I'm getting is this person chose to continuously repeat their patterns of reactivity and to project their own insecurities onto you rather than going within themselves, and then get frustrated that you weren't doing the inner work for them, that you weren't soothing them perpetually or fixing them or being their source of light or their source of reassurance. It's almost like they wanted to own your light instead of appreciating it, and you could sense that. And I feel that at some point, like lately, there has been a dissolution spiritually of this bond, at least temporarily. Now, of course, it's entirely up to you whether you ever allow this person back into your life. But what I'm getting is, for the time being, it's like you've shifted into total apathy towards this person or connection because yes, there may have been a time you were drawn to them to lead by example, but they've made their choice here. They've chosen to repeat the same cycles and patterns. And so I feel you've been freed from this energy. And now, like I said, you are actually moving into higher levels of fulfillment, higher levels of harmony and success. And they're being sent back into those loops so that they can still repeat the same patterns until they finally learn to go within and to heal themselves from the inside out. I'm also hearing the words like, I'm going to change. I feel like this may have been someone who perpetually promised you that they were going to change or that things were going to be different. And it's like those same patterns would just repeat over and over. I'm also hearing they would have the tendency to always blame external things for internal feelings, and it would probably float around to different things. So sometimes they might be blaming you, sometimes they might blame their work or society or just whatever. They would always find different things to blame to justify the negative state that they were in, the insecurity that they were in. But the whole time, their own guides were trying to push them to go within themselves, to address the root cause, which I do feel there may have been some kind of trauma or an abandonment wound for this person that they didn't want to look at. And as long as they keep trying to assign power and value and meaning to their internal trauma that they're not willing to look at, it's like they're assigning all of that power externally outside of themselves, outside of their locus of control. And as long as they're doing that, you're always going to feel as though you are kind of caught in the middle of that when you're connecting with this person, because this is their battle to fight. And so I feel you've been freed from this energy. You're walking forward like clearer, higher vibrational. I actually feel that You may have even learned something through this connection. I'm hearing something about finding your voice. If this was someone who played a role in your past or that you have known for a long time, I feel that there was a time with this particular person where you may have felt voiceless or you may have felt powerless. And through interacting with them more recently, I feel that you've found your voice. You've learned how to communicate yourself clearly, how to not compromise yourself to attempt to save someone else. And so there has been some kind of powerful upgrade that you've received through this as well. But while you received the upgrade from it, this person chose to repeat the same unconscious reactive patterns. So now there's been some kind of dissolution here. But it's been kind of necessary because at some point, this person's energy has been affecting you. Like you've learned the lesson, they've been refusing to learn the lesson. And so them remaining in your life in this way has been draining you or preventing you from fully walking forward into that next level of your own existence in your own life experience that, by the way, you are now entering into. Because welcome to the next level. I guess that's the strongest point that I could make through this reading here at the end, is that you've made it. You've made it to this higher octave of your own existence. And it's because you had the courage to trust the process. And I'm so excited to see where these channelings lead us to next. But I am going to close this reading here. Now, you guys know that for YouTube members and Patreon, I channel 3 exclusive additional readings per week just for members every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I will be doing an additional bonus reading. However, it will not necessarily be connected to this reading. So it will probably have its own title and thumbnail. And I will leave the title of that and the links to it in the description box under this video and the pinned comment if you want to check it out. But otherwise, I'm going to close this reading here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am so proud of you. I'm so excited for this next phase of your life. Congratulations on making it here because you are the one who has done all of the work to get here. And life is really starting to open up for you in some huge ways. And I am so thrilled to be witnessing that. I would love to hear from you in the comments if there's anything in your life you've been excited about or creating or doing. But otherwise, I'm going to leave things here. Have a beautiful day, and I will connect with you here again. Well, either over the weekend in a mini reading, or if not over the weekend, then definitely in our collective reading on Monday.